Okay, guys, we're on. Quiet. We're listening to Olympia, to Bryn. What?
Okay. My name is Monica.
Wait. We want everyone in the classroom is paying attention now.
Okay. My name is Monica, and as you must know, I'm from Denny International Middle School. And then my question is, how many legislators of color are in the legislating building?
Okay, guys.
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. There are currently, there is one female in the Senate. She was recently elected, who I believe is Hispanic. And then the lieutenant governor, who is the president of the Senate, he is Iranian. And I'm trying to think if there are others, but off the top of my head, I am not thinking that there are. That is something that our legislature lacks is diversity among different cultures and races.
Okay.
Can you tell her about your experience on last week, Thursday, going to Olympia? Was that your first time?
Yeah.
So tell her.
My first time was last week on Thursday going to Olympia, and we was talking about the Alliance of Gun Responsibility. And yeah.
Did you testify?
No, only one person did.
Okay, so were you able to sit in the hearing room and observe the testimony, or did you observe it from another location?
I sat in the hearing room.
Okay, and what did you think?
It was sad
Why was it sad?
because a lot of people was telling like sad stories about their kids and brothers getting killed.
Very good. Well, are you happy that you got to participate in the legislative process?
Yes.
Good. Will you do it in the future?
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Najib, you're next.
Oh man.
Come on, Najib. You're our star. And you
Can you
Najib, I need your autograph.
tilt the camera down? We can't see the students' faces
Okay.
when they speak, or they're cut off a little bit.
Najib, come on over.
This gentleman we can see.
Is that better?
Okay. Is
First,
that good?
Okay. You are.
So my name is Najib Yassin.
Say it again.
My name is Najib Yassin. I'm an 8th grader at Denny International Middle School. And my question is, what is the process after the hearing?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. So the bill was heard, it received its public hearing, and the next thing that the chair does is decides on whether or not the bill has enough votes to make it out of committee, and they call that executive session. So that bill would need to move out of the committee by February 17th. So next Friday is what we call a cutoff day. And if the bill does not come out of committee, if it doesn't get voted on, the term we use is we call the bill is dead. Bills have to, we operate, it's a system, and not everything can stay alive throughout the entire legislative process. So they have start and stop clocks along the way. So if the bill comes out of committee, it then becomes eligible to, depending on if it has a fiscal note or not, it might need to go before one more committee where they consider the fiscal implications of the bill. Like, does it cost money, and what does the state need to anticipate to pay for this policy? And if it goes to that committee, it goes through the same process where it has a public hearing, then it needs to be voted on, and then the bill is eligible for to be considered by the entire body of the House of Representatives. That is what we call floor action, where then the bill is debated among all of the members in the House of Representatives. Those are 98 people from all the 2 representatives from each legislative district. And if the bill moves out of out of that chamber. It then moves over to the Senate because we have a bicameral legislature, and it goes through the exact same process over in the Senate, where senators listen to the bill, consider the bill, and move it through the process. And if it makes it all the way through the Senate and there are no changes made to the legislation along the way, it goes to the governor. Was that perfectly clear?
Yeah.
The bill that we just came. Ask her, 1387 or 122.
Which one?
No, that's me. Ask about your experience. You mentioned about your experience.
Okay, so my experience was that like I was the only person to testify in the hearing room, and it was a good experience because I was the only youth to testify, and I was testifying next to like a bunch of like people that are prosecutors or like some other members in like other branches. But then the thing I didn't like was that the lack of diversity, because I was like maybe like the 1 out of 2 of like colored people like that got to testify. So that's what I thought to myself the whole day, is that like when will more colored people like come up and testify for the bills.
Yeah, that's an excellent observation. It's something that I notice a lot as well. Our legislature is predominantly white, and it's predominantly male, and they're also tend to be middle-aged, so that we lack diversity in age, we lack a diversity of gender, we lack a diversity of cultures in our legislature. There is some, it doesn't address the people of color, but when you think about our entire state and representation, there is some diversity when you consider it by gender. And compared to other states, our state has had 2 female governors, we have 2 female senators, and we have a handful of female representatives representing us in Congress. And so I tend to like to look at the silver lining and think that that is progress, in the sense that our process is opening up some by allowing more. Well, it's not that it prohibits women, but that more women are interested in politics and in government. And we need to do a better job of reaching out to communities of color, communities of other culture, and encourage them to engage in the legislative process. Okay. So hopefully you're engaged, and maybe you'll get involved with student government and go to college and get involved in student government and be interested to carry that out as a career. That would be wonderful. Thank you for testifying.
Hi, I'm Vivian, and I was wondering, do you think House Bill 1122 or 1387 will make it out of the executive community next Friday? I mean, on Friday.
That's a really good question. As we discussed the last time we hung out, these bills are very controversial, and they create a lot of debate. And when you have really controversial subjects, it's not that they're not important, but they also distract from other very important policy items. So what sometimes happens is leadership will discuss the importance of the discussion that these bills intrigue, meaning that, it's important to take a moment and reflect, why do we treat assault weapons differently than handguns? And think about the number of deaths that we've experienced because firearms have gotten in the hands of young children. And it's a time to reflect and really think about that. So leadership does do that. Leadership, those are the people who hold leadership positions in our legislature, and they'll consider whether or not they want to bring this out move it out of committee and have a floor debate where all members discuss it. And I don't know that they've made that decision yet to decide if they're going to move these forward for that larger debate and potentially distract from other things such as funding education. I think you guys are aware that that's a major discussion point here in the legislature, and they can't bring everything forward to discuss in one particular year. That a lot of times controversial pieces of legislation take multiple years to pass, and oftentimes go out to the vote of the people, similar to the initiative that passed this past year, and we all get to vote on it. We as citizens will vote on it through an initiative process rather than relying on the legislative process to debate and make a decision on how to address these problems in our society.
I also want to talk about my experience there. It was good, but there's lots of NRA people there. I was really surprised though. I thought there would be more people like against it there, but yeah.
Well, you observed the power of an interest group and people who believe in their Second Amendment right to possess and carry a firearm. They believe that fervently, and they want to demonstrate that right. And there are some people who believe opposite of that. You know, they're not comfortable seeing people carrying guns around. But that's the beauty of debate. And the beauty of discussing issues is we all have different opinions, and we've got to work them out. People don't normally carry guns around the campus. That was just that particular day because they were demonstrating and making a point that value is important to them.
I also noticed that every time like they were telling their stories about it for the gun violence, they would be shaking their heads like the NRA supporters. I just thought it was
Well, I'm glad you got to observe it. It's fun to see controversial subjects like this be debated. They're always pretty interesting because people are passionate about their position, and that's why the subjects are controversial, I think, is because the opinions are on very different spectrums, and it's you know, again, it's about your perspective of looking at it. I think it's one. I like to look at it and think that that's healthy debates are good. As you know, as long as people don't begin to use their firearms when they are debating, it's a safe process and it's healthy.
okay. Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question about.
Oh, who are you?
Okay. My name is Michael Laudermilk, and I was wondering who Will Palmer is.
Will Palmer?
Yeah.
William is a legislative assistant to one of our House of Representative members, Representative Tana Sen. She represents the area around Mercer Island, so up near Seattle. And William is her legislative assistant who assists her with keeping her schedule in order, organizing information for her so she's prepared for her different committees, prepared to represent the bills that she's sponsoring. He works here in Olympia.
All right. And do you know anyone who has paged?
I was a page many years ago, and several lobbyists that I know, they bring their children down to participate in the PAGE program. So yeah, I've known quite a few. Are you interested in that?
Yeah.
Great. How old are you?
14.
Okay, you're the perfect age for it. Mm-hmm. So have you been in contact with William to be a page under Representative Sen?
No.
No. Okay. Well, one way to do this is there's information on the website, the legislative website, where you get information on how to become a page. But the best way, one step in that process is to get connected with your local representative or senator, and they would be your sponsor to sponsor you through the PAGE program. And I encourage you to do that as soon as possible because the spaces fill up pretty quickly if they aren't already filled up. So
You hear that, the chief?
Mhm.
So they get paid.
I think you have to be 14 and 15. So if it doesn't happen this year, get yourself in line to do it next year.
All right.
Right.
Anytime.
Here you go, congratulations.
Tell her about your experience.
I know this. Always call him William.
But first say your name and introduce yourself.
Hi,
Hi there.
my name's Asia. I'm in 6th grade. I have a question. How many people are on the Judiciary Committee?
Ooh, gosh, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe 12 or so. We can look it up. Hold on one second. Can you see that? See the screen?
I don't.
Hold on just a second. We're gonna look it up.
Okay.
And then,
Okay, now you can see the screen. Okay, so if you look on the left-hand side of the page, go down to legislative committees.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what chamber that we were in? Were we in the House or the Senate?
House.
Very good. We were in the House. Now you'll scroll down to the Judiciary Committee. And then over on the left-hand, or there we go, that's right. We click on that, and there are the members. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. I was close. 13. And so you'll see the representation there that it's a mix of Democrats and Republicans. The reason why the chair is a Democrat is because in the House, the Democrats are in control. That means they have more members than the Republicans do. So they get to decide who chairs a committee. And then the committee representation typically has 1 or 2 more members than the minority party. So we said there were 13. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Republicans and 7 Democrats.
I have another question related to that. How do they decide?
How did what?
How do they decide?
On the bill? How to vote on the legislation, or how to be on the committee?
How many people are in the? Yeah. I asked the question.
in the committee.
How many people are in the committee?
No. How did they decide how many people?
How do they decide how many people are in the committee?
That's a good question, and I'm not entirely positive. I think it has to do a little bit with how many people are interested in being on that committee. So before the legislative session begins, so in November or December, they have assembly days where they all come down and they assemble and start making decisions about, they express what committees they want to serve on, and then the leadership then looks at those lists of what everybody's preferences are, and they start divvying up responsibilities. So I think, so from year to year, the Judiciary Committee could change. It may not have always 13 people on it. Maybe one year it would have 9. But I'm not entirely sure how they decide what the final number is, but I have a feeling it has to do with how many people are interested in serving on it and how it compares to other committees. Do they have enough people on other committees and so forth?
I had a really great experience on last Thursday, coming to the Olympia. It was my first time going to Olympia, and it was an amazing honor. I noticed that there was a lot of different type of people there, and it was kind of like an open area where you can just see how people agree with each other and disagree with each other, and in the right way too. So it was amazing.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoy working it down here. I think it's a fun place to be.
Hey, Brian, it's Lori.
Hello, Lori.
Their bell just rang.
Class is over.
Oh, the classes. Wow, the time went so quickly.
It did. I did. I'm
We
sorry.
have more questions, but we'll keep them for the next time for sure.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you so much.
So are you coming? You'll be here on Monday?
Yes, with the other class.
Okay.
Not this class, yeah.
All right. I won't fall sick this time.
Will you be there?
Yeah, I'll be around on Monday. So yeah,
When I know exactly what's happening, I'll email you.
that's great.
We're still
Sounds
working
good.
on, they tell me last minute how
I
many people
understand.
testifying, that kind of thing. So I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right,
Super.
Chief, do I have all your